Blog Talk Radio.
What time is it?
WH Radio. We are the best in the world at what we do.
Welcome back to Wrestlingheads Radio. It's me, Oscar, filling in for Skits tonight. Joining me now, I got Tom with me. What's going on, Tom?
Going on, Oscar? Not much over here. Same old, same old.
Yeah, it is what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. And we got a special guest with us today. If you're familiar with Dragon Gate USA Evolve, and now you're part of Ring of Honor, the name I'm going to mention, that you're very familiar with this gentleman, and he's one big scary dude. I don't want to mess with this guy. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Moose. What's going on, Moose?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, it's my honor to have you on. I will explain why in a little bit, but before we get the show on the roll, I just want to let our listeners know if you have any questions for Moose, you can always call up at 760-454-1107, or you can tweet us at Wrestlingheads. Let's get the show on the roll. My first question I want to ask you, Moose, right before you became a professional wrestler, is this something you always want to do like as a backup plan just in case the football thing didn't work out, or did you just plan this just maybe not long ago and now you can say you're a professional wrestler?
Wrestling was definitely something I always wanted to do. I just didn't know when I was going to start the journey, because the whole football thing. But I never planned that I would do it as a backup just in case football didn't work out. I just didn't know when would be the right time to let football go to start on wrestling,
Yeah.
But it was just one of those things where it felt like I was going from team to team, and after a while I got tired of it, and when I got released from the last team I was with, I had an opportunity to go play with another team. I decided that was the right time to go ahead and hang the shoes up, I guess, to start the whole wrestling journey.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, I already got a question. Yeah, I already actually got a question from somebody, from Skits. He wants me to ask you, hold on, let me read that again. He wants me to ask you that being a wrestler is something you were always interested in.
Yeah, sometimes, as a kid, I always wanted to be a wrestler. I've been the biggest wrestling fan since I was like 8 years old, probably even younger than that. So it was something I always wanted to do. It was a lifelong dream of mine, and it just got derailed a bit because of my career with football.
Yeah, definitely. Shout out for Skit for sending that question. I'm going to go pass it on to Tom. Go ahead, Tom.
All right, so already Oscar was talking about getting into wrestling. So you've been into wrestling for a little bit now. What's been the toughest transition going from football into professional wrestling so far for you?
The toughest transition. Honestly, the transition's been really smooth. Except for the trip, I guess that will be the toughest transition, where in football you fly everywhere, and in wrestling probably gonna be most likely driving at different shows. I mean, especially with some promoters who don't want to spend their money with buying a plane ticket and getting you down to their shows, so they pay your trains. I mean, that's probably the biggest difference, or I guess toughest transition. I mean, which is not really tough, it's just little similarities between the whole football world and wrestling. Transportation of the trips, where in football you flew to 100% of your games, away games, where wrestling you drive it. Most of the time you drive away at least.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely got to be a tough transition going from, getting hit every day by, 200, 300-pound guys and then, getting hit with steel chairs. So definitely something, and it's definitely something that people are interested in. We see a lot of people, go from football, whether it's college or professional, going into wrestling. So there's definitely a great degree of success. All right, Oscar, I'm going to pass it right back to you.
Yes. My next question I want to ask you, now that we all seen you doing some shows with Dragon Gate / Evolve, and now you're part of Ring of Honor, what's your next step that you like to accomplish in wrestling? Is there a certain country you like to perform at, or there's something in Ring of Honor that you like to accomplish? What is your next step you like to accomplish?
I mean, as far as country, a bunch of my friends in the wrestling business have all been to Japan, so that's something I would like to accomplish, is say I wrestled in Japan or wrestled outside the country. In the Ring of Honor, obviously, it would be great to one day say I'm the Ring of Honor world champ,
What about a certain company that a lot of wrestlers would love to enjoy over here in the West Coast called PWG? Is this something that you will like to maybe perform in? Because next weekend is a show, and Uha Nation is actually going to debut next week. So is that something you would like to be a part of?
Oh, definitely, man. I've been trying to get a hold of Super Dragon for the longest, and hopefully listening to the show, listening, but get me on. I definitely want to be a part of that environment. Uwa is probably my best friend, and he's actually debuting next week, like you said, and I know that him and Brian Cage are going to kill it. PWG is definitely a company I would love to work for. You got to be patient, and hopefully one day Super Dragon calls or emails me, and we'll get that going.
Yeah, definitely. And I always go to PWG shows, so if they called you up and bring you, if I could see you wrestle in person for once, it's all good. Either that, I could just wait in March in Vegas, so or WrestleMania weekend. So I'm a patient guy, so it's all good. And I'm sure Uha Nation was a patient guy too, because I follow him for a while now, and he's finally getting an opportunity to work in PWG. So I guess it takes time, and we'll hopefully see you in the PWG ring in the future. I'm going to pass it back.
Yeah. I know it takes a long time, and you got to understand PWG is almost like the best of the best. It's like the all-stars from every company meet up there and to put on a show. Hopefully I get that call soon, but I do know in this business you have to have a lot of patience, and definitely that company you have to have a lot of patience. But I'm happy with where I'm at with Ring of Honor, and if PWG never happens, then that's fine. But that definitely is an environment I would love to work at.
Yeah, definitely. Before I pass on to Tom, I actually have another question from WH Skits. He wants me to ask you, How does it feel like? I mean, how does it feel working with Veda Scott? And have you learned anything from her? Like, has she ever give you any advice or tips?
Working with her is definitely very fun. A cool, really cool chick. And yeah, she gives me a lot of advice, especially in the promo side of it. And she is my, I guess right now, business manager. So she definitely does a lot for us, myself and RD, and lucky to have on my side.
Yeah, definitely. All right, cool. A shout out to Skits once again for saying all these questions. I'm going to pass it back to you, Tom. Go ahead, Tom.
All right, my next question for you, Moose, is in Ring of Honor, we don't see a lot of guys coming in from football, NFL or even college. So what was kind of the reception from when you first came in there? Were they accepting, or did it kind of take a little bit of time for them to kind of open up and see that you were serious about this?
The roster and Ring of Honor treated me great. They accepted me with open arms. I've learned a lot from some of the veterans there, and the experience was also great. One thing something about me is when I really decide I'm going to do something, I put 110% towards it. I'm sure all the guys have seen that, and I've earned their respect, just the hard work I put in this whole wrestling business with the workouts and the stuff outside the ring that I do to better my craft,
Yeah, it's been, I could see that they've, been accepting of you, and especially Mr. Artie Evans. I know Skitch just asked about Veda Scott, so what has it also been like working with Artie Evans? Because he's kind of a different character in Ring of Honor. He's got the streak going, more of a comedy, fun character. So what's it been like working with him?
Oh, man, it's a blast working with him, man. RD is probably one of the smartest, workers in the business. His knowledge of wrestling is so great, and just with that alone, I've learned a lot about the whole wrestling business. It's definitely a great start for me, for them to put me with him so I can learn more. And he's doing great for me right now.
Yeah, it's quite the interesting tag team, but it's working. So who knows down the line, Moose and Artie Evans, you guys could take the titles off of Red Dragon. Who knows?
We'll see. We'll see what happens. Definitely that'll be awesome. We get that opportunity. Let's do the streak versus the fighter and see what happens,
Yeah. All right, Oscar, I'll throw it back to you now.
Yes. My next question I'd like to ask you, I see the WWE been bringing ex-football players to their performance center. Like, example, they brought in Sean Merriman. They also brought in a couple of guys like Mojo Riley, who they use in NXT. I believe he used to be an offensive lineman for Arizona Cardinals. So as the guy they're recently pushing in that program named Baron Corbin, I believe he used to play for the Cardinals as well. Has they ever tried to reach you in the past, possibly like maybe do a workout for them?
Yeah, it's funny. Both those guys you mentioned, I'm actually from the same area that what's his name, Sean Merriman is from. I don't really know him that well. I played against him quite a bit, but I actually heard he was signed to WWE. I actually heard he was signed with them, but Baron Corbin and Mojo Rawley, both good friends of mine, and talked to them quite a bit. And a lot of people don't know this, but before the whole Ring of Honor thing happened, I actually had a tryout with WWE, which was at that point was probably the dumbest thing I did. And I'm not saying that because that's definitely a company I would love to work for, but I say it was dumb because I wasn't ready for what I got myself into when I went down there. I hadn't even had my first match when I had a tryout with them, and I got hurt. I had some head issues, and I got hurt. So that was the end of that whole stint with the WWE. But we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm still young, only 30 years old, and I'm currently with Ring of Honor, and I'm happy here. But we'll see what happens down the road.
For not, you can say signing with the WWE, is it something like is this something you want to do, like experience wrestling and other promotions first before you want to go to WWE? Is that something that's why you didn't want to sign?
I kind of like, I'm one of those guys where if it was up to me, I'd rather work at Ring of Honor as long as I can and work other companies and big time indie organizations as long as I can, so I can learn and grow and work on my craft. So once that opportunity with WWE comes, I'm ready to go. I don't have to stay in developmental for a long period of time because I've worked on my craft long enough, and I know what it takes where they'll be comfortable with moving up the chains pretty quick, you know. I mean, if it was up to me, that's the role I'd rather take. I mean, it's cool getting signed at WWE, but I feel like, and this is just my opinion, I mean, I don't know, I'm not 100% sure, but it seems like a lot of people get signed and are happy to be in developmental for 3-4 years because they're making money, and I'm not that kind of guy. Like, if I go to WWE, I would like to be actually on the roster, on the main roster, on Raw, you know. So I feel like me doing what I'm doing, the path I'm taking right now is great. I mean, because once that time comes, if that time comes, I think I'll be ready. I mean, I think I'll move up the chains quickly, you know.
Yeah, I feel you, because going back to Baron Corbin, it seems like he's been in WWE in a while. I heard of the name, and it seems like just now, recently, they're just giving him a push. It seems like they're starting to do like a kind of like a Goldberg type character, which he's coming in and just beating the opponent, and you know they're giving him like pretty much a streak, you can say, just like how Goldberg did in WCW back in the day. So yeah, and they're just barely putting him in now. So hopefully you have a successful career there, and it seems like right now they're high on this guy. But yeah, I'm gonna.
Baron Corbin. I mean, I watch him quite a bit, and he's doing a phenomenal job right now. And you already, it looks like he's just going in, squashing guys and getting out. And, yeah, I mean that's a good fit for what they're trying to do with him, and he's definitely a good timing. And we'll see where it goes. I mean, he has been there for a while, and I mean, but it's one of those things where he never wrestled before going to WWE, so he had to learn how to take a bump and learn how to lock up and learn everything from scratch going there, and that's why it took him so long before he's at where he's at now. And that's basically the point that I'm making about the path that I'm taking is sharpening my tools, you know.
Yeah,
which is great. It's a great company to work for. I mean, in my opinion, other than WWE, the second best company out there, if not the best, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I feel you on that. I'm going to go pass it back to Tom. Go ahead, Tom.
All right, my next couple questions I got is kind of a two-parter. My first question is, you're starting off in Ring of Honor, which is a little unusual for football players. Usually they try to go straight for WWE because, WWE likes that kind of style, likes that look. But with you now starting in, Ring of Honor, is that kind of changing the way that maybe football players, maybe college, or even NFL players who are interested in getting in wrestling kind of change their views because they're like, well, maybe I don't have to go to WWE. There's Ring of Honor, and they're, doing good for themselves. They're a good company. So are the kind of views changing on where you could go in wrestling if you're interested?
See, the thing about it, and I'm not trying to blow smoke up my ass or nothing like that, but everybody that knows me knows I'm really humble. But the thing about it, like, I think it's, unless you are a wrestler and you've been wrestling for a while, yeah, you could be a football player, but Ring of Honor just won't sign you just because you're a football player. You actually need to know how to work, and that's the difference between Ring of Honor and WWE, because Ring of Honor, there isn't no developmental where, okay, we'll sign you and we'll develop you, and then once you get better, we'll put you on TV. It's we'll sign you and you're going straight to TV. So just because you're a football player trying to get into wrestling, that don't mean Ring of Honor will sign you. You have to be a good wrestler as well, too. Where WWE, on the other hand, they have a developmental, so they can sign a football player and keep them behind closed doors in their developmental for 2-3 years and develop him. And when they feel like he's ready for TV, then they put him on, So, I mean, I don't think just because you're a football player, you're an ex-athlete, that Ring of Honor is the right way to go. I mean, because we don't have a developmental, We don't have an NXT.
Yeah, I could see that point. It's a very good point making. And my second question was, in the NFL locker room, are a lot of the guys wrestling fans, or is it just kind of like some guys are wrestling fans, some guys maybe catch it or know about it?
I mean, everybody knows about it. I mean, most of the locker room I was in had some kind of experience when they was younger or in the teenage years with wrestling. Just some people love it, some people don't, some people hate it, some people don't care too much about it, some people think it's weird, some people think it's fake. I mean, there's different feelings about it. I mean, I always one of those guys that always loved it, and all my friends knew I loved it, and I didn't care what they had to say about it. I mean, it's just one of those things. I mean, everybody has their opinion about it. Some people like it, some people don't.
Yeah, we see a lot of NFL players interested in WWE, see them on Raw a couple times. So I could see, they just love seeing people get hit with chairs and love seeing people get beat up.
Right.
Because that's what they do.
I mean, I'll tell you this: every team that I played for, we at one point of the year I bought us all tickets to go watch a wrestling event.
Yeah.
So there is, I mean, you would get a handful of guys that like wrestling. They're willing to go to shows with you and watch what I wanted to do as a little kid,
Yeah.
But I want to everybody like wrestling.
Yeah. I think, like I said, they just love seeing people get hit with chairs and stuff. They just love the violence because they're used to it. But I'm going to pass it back to you, Oscar. Go ahead.
All right, Moose. Now that we're in the football subject, I wanted to ask you about a football question. I'm actually a fan of a team that you played once before, the St. Louis Rams. And I know in that locker room there's some fans there like James Laurinaitis, Robert Quinn, and Johnny Hecker. I'm sure I know they're huge wrestling fans. I've seen them in WWE and TNA programming. I just want to know how was it being around with those guys? I knew they were in the roster at the time you were there. How was it like being around those guys? And did you guys talk wrestling a lot while you were playing with the St. Louis Rams?
That's actually new to me. I didn't know Robert Quinn was a big wrestling fan. I mean, I was on the same team with James Laurinaitis, and I know he's a big wrestling fan. Obviously, his whole family has been in it, you know. I know he's a big fan, and Chris Long, I won't say he's a big fan, but he watches it quite a bit. I'm sure he watches it more now that I'm in it, you know, because he's a real good buddy, and but I mean, it was with the Rams, it was definitely great because I mean, I had James Laurinaitis. I mean, his family members is in the business, you know, so it was always great because I know I had a guy that I could talk all day to about wrestling, you know, and he wouldn't get bored and he wouldn't think about me, he wouldn't think of me funny, and you know what I'm saying. So that was definitely great.
Yeah, because I know about James Laurinaitis. He is the son of Road Warrior Animal, and he's also the nephew of Mr. People Power, John Laurinaitis. So he has wrestling in his blood, you can say. I want to ask you a question about him. Whenever he's done with his football career, do you think he can you see him following sort of like your footsteps? Like after he's done with football, can you see him being in the ring?
Oh, definitely. I think that would be like that would be a quick transition. I mean, it would be a quick and easy transition. I mean, his family is in it.
Yeah, and I could see. I was just telling my buddies, I can see him trying to get into WWE. You know, you can say in an easier way because I can see him working out in the program, but I don't think they're gonna take it easy on him because he's Animal's son. I guess if they like what they see, they'll sign him. You know, but yeah, if he wants to go that route, I'll support him. But right now, I'm a St. Louis Rams fan, and I just want to stay in the team right now. I really like the guys right now. So yeah, and hopefully the team starts doing well. I know they're 1-3 right now, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm gonna go pass it to Tom. Go ahead, Tom.
All right, I'm going to also stay on the football topic, but I'm going to go back a little bit more because you attended Syracuse University, and I also went to Syracuse, so I want to hear about just some times in Syracuse, what you learned there, football-wise, or even, you know, anything in life that they taught you there, because I'm definitely interested to hear it.
Can you repeat the question? I was doing three things at one time. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah. Syracuse is it's an interesting place there.
Yeah, I mean,
hey, Tommy.
College was one of those things. I mean, it wasn't the funnest thing for me. I mean, because all I did was pretty much football, school, and then go home and relax. I wasn't really a big partier. But I mean, I learned a lot from Syracuse. I mean, got great friends that I met during that time, and still proud to call them my friends right now. And it was definitely a weird, a different view than what I thought college would be.
That's what I got from Syracuse. It was a little different there, but you know, you go wherever you go and you learn. So, but I'll keep supporting Syracuse, especially the basketball squad, because they're always doing
What's
good.
the football record right now? I haven't been really paid attention to them.
Yeah, Syracuse football, you know, it was up and down when I was there. Some people were into it, some people weren't. You know, I just recently went there, so Some people are kind of into it. But, it's an interesting school, like you said, a little weird. But that's Syracuse. All right, Oscar, I'm going to pass it back to you.
All right. Before I ask Moose the question, I want to ask you both of you guys the question. How's Syracuse doing? Because my Trojans cannot defend a Hail Mary pass, so I don't know what the heck happened there. But how was Syracuse anyway? Yeah. How's Syracuse doing right now?
I don't know. I asked the same question. I don't really follow college football.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't follow NFL football that much. I mean, when I do watch it, I'm watching more fight the Falcons because I live in Atlanta and that's the only game I could get regionally. But I don't really follow football much. So I can't answer that question. I don't know if they're winning, if they're losing, what their record is. I have no idea.
Yeah, because right now, because when you guys were talking about college football, and the first thing that popped in my head was what happened this past Saturday, just not far from me, because I live by the Coliseum with the Trojan play, and then that Hail Mary pass happened. I'm like, oh my god, they're just getting me a little nightmare. Trying to get that out of my head right now. But anyway, I know. But anyways, I want to go back to ask you. Well, kind of with the Rams, because how I found out about Robert Quinn was a fan, because I see him taking pictures with guys like John Cena and Titus O'Neil, and I would swear I saw him and Cena do this, the "You Can't See Me" post not long ago. I know those guys are fans, but going back when you were a fan, Moose, who did you look up to, or who did you like? Who was like one of your favorites? From back in the day?
Man, from Ric Flair to Razor Ramon to Steve Austin. Who wasn't a Steve Austin fan? That's my question. Yeah,
Stone Cold all the way. I met him a few weeks ago, by the way.
So that's probably exciting, huh?
Yeah, he's a cool dude. I actually drank a beer with that guy. He's a cool dude. It was funny that you mentioned about Ric Flair and Razor Ramon. For anybody listening, we were talking about James Laurinaitis. Every time he does a big play, he does their pose. Like, I remember seeing them doing the Razor Ramon pose. And Ric Flair's little walk he does, I remember him doing that. Every time he does a big play, like a tackle for a loss or something big, or interception. He does something like when he does a big play, pretty much he does the wrestler's pose. I'm going to switch it back to Tom.
Yeah, my next question is kind of an interesting one. I don't know how much insight you can give, but of course, main problem in the NFL and even in wrestling, the main concern and issue is concussions. And, both the NFL and pro wrestling have taken dramatic steps to, improve, player safety, wrestler safety, everything. So what is your whole take on both, football and wrestling kind of addressing this issue?
It's definitely an issue that needs to be addressed. Concussion is definitely a dangerous thing, especially the long-term effects of it. You've seen a lot of guys who freaking lost their minds, killing themselves, killing other people, learning deep depression. So, it's definitely a good thing that they're taking their safety precautions with it and keeping guys out the field, out the ring. Not more for now, but what it could cause down the road,
Yeah, because, concussions are, very rampant, especially in the NFL. I think wrestling gets even a little bit overlooked. You hear interviews from wrestlers, and there was one by Adam Cole where he talked about, he's already had 4 concussions in his career, and he's only 25. And with wrestling, it's like, you would get a concussion, and then you just, you keep going because you want to keep making money. You're hungry to keep going. So, wrestling is evolving a little bit slower than NFL, but it's still being addressed, and I think it's a great step for both organizations and both companies.
Yeah, I think it's a big thing, a good thing for both sports. If you want to call wrestling sport, I think it's a big thing for both sports to doing what they're doing. Like I said, concussion is a big injury in both sports, and it's something that could really hurt you down the road. And I think it's a good thing that they're taking all the precautions they are with it right now.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Oscar, I'm going to toss it right back to you.
Yeah, definitely. Before I ask Moose my questions, I want to let our listeners know you can always tweet us anytime at Wrestlingheads if you have any questions for Moose, or you always can call us at 760-454-1107. I know it's a 2-hour show, but we're not going to have Moose on for 2 hours. So if you have anything to ask him, just either call or tweet us. So, yeah, I just wanted our listeners to know that. My next question I'd like to ask you, who would you like to work with, either anybody's in the current WWE roster, TNA, or even Ring of Honor, or anywhere in general? Who is there a list of anybody you would love to work with?
Yeah, I'm going to go down the line with my top, I think top 10 will be way too long, but my top 5 guys I would love to work. In Ring of Honor, man, I would like to work everybody in Ring of Honor because, the roster is so talented, and you can have a good match anybody on the roster. So, for Ring of Honor, I would say everybody on the roster. Outside of Ring of Honor, that will be number one. Outside in Ring of Honor, would be everybody on the roster. I would love to have an individual match with, because there's so many stories you could tell and so much fun you could have, and it would be a great match. Because honestly, if you look at our roster, I think we have the best wrestling roster in the world right now, from top to bottom. Man, I'm not saying that because that's the company I currently work with, but I actually mean that. Then I think number 2 will probably be Ricochet. He's, in my opinion, probably the best wrestler in the world right now. I would say Uar, but that's my tag team partner, so. Movie number 3. Man, it's so tough. This is putting me on the spot here. But I'll say this, a dream match of mine, though, is somebody I looked up to and followed his whole career, and I'm a big fan of right now, and back in the day, even in his return now, is the WWE champ, world champ, Brock Lesnar. Aside from Flair and Ramon and Razor Ramon, that is, and Austin and Eddie Guerrero and all those guys back in the day, I think my favorite current wrestler and somebody I study, and I study a lot of tape on him, is Brock Lesnar. So it will be a dream come true to actually, if it ever happens, who knows, to actually have a match with him.
Yeah, definitely. I would like to see you and Brock Lesnar get it on. Yeah, Brock Lesnar. I think right now Brock Lesnar is better than he was even back then. So, and I like what they're doing with him right now. And
you think so? Everybody says that, but I'm still a bigger fan of him from what he did before he left than now. Which, it's definitely a big difference from who he was before he left and who he is now. Now he's more of a
shoot fighter.
Yeah.
I guess that's what he's trying to get himself perceived as I'm an ex-MMA guy, where before he left it was an actual wrestler, you know. But, I mean, both gimmicks are great. I mean, both characters are great. I mean, he's definitely an Hall of Fame of mine and definitely probably the best athlete in the WWE. And, I mean, that's definitely somebody I would like to be in the ring with. I mean, it would be two really athletic guys squaring off with each other, you know.
Yeah, definitely. And I know you were having difficulty getting a list, but what about a guy we were talking about earlier, Baron Corbin? Would you like to work with him in the ring one day in the future?
I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, there's so many stories you could go with that. I mean, two ex-football players, you know, two ex-offensive linemen. Same thing with Mojo Rawley. I mean, there's so many stories you could tell with that guy. So many ways you could build that story up, you know.
Yeah.
Same thing with, it's funny. We keep talking about football players, but we forget probably the biggest one out of them right now is, what's the guy's name? The Rock's cousin. I can't think of his name right now.
Oh, Roman Reigns?
Yeah, Roman Reigns. I mean,
yeah,
the funny thing about him is I played against him in college.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know he was a football player until they showed that special the Shield on the WWE Network. And
yeah,
like, really?
Georgia Tech. I was like, wow. Defensive man at Georgia Tech. I forgot his real name. Something, Anoke, something like Mike Anoke or something crazy. I remember playing against him. I was a star right tackle. He was a star left end, and it was ridiculous. It's funny.
Yeah, and I was like, I didn't know that, and then he mentioned that Calvin Johnson was his teammate. I was like, what? You got to be kidding me! I didn't know this stuff, and what's funny is that it's kind of his career. It's kind of similar like how The Rock did. The Rock was a defensive end, and then he never got drafted. And look, now he's one of the biggest names in wrestling today. And Roman's kind of sort of like following his footsteps right now, even though it's a different character.
I mean, exact same come up. I mean, two ex-football players. I mean, it's funny. You can even push it down to they played in the same conference. I mean, actually, The Rock played in the Big East, where Roman Reigns is in the ACC, but the school The Rock went to is now in the ACC. I mean, there's so many comparisons you could do with those guys. I mean, I mean, it's like I said, so many stories you could tell with you putting me in the ring with any of those guys. I mean, because we're all football players. I mean, we all come from the same bread, you know.
All right, yeah, definitely. Tom, I'm gonna pass it back to you, man.
Yeah, my next question I got, kind of sticking with Ring of Honor exclusively. Of course, you debuted at Best in the World, Ring of Honor's first pay-per-view, and, they've been rocking ever since. So now that you're in the company at such a high point, where do you see Ring of Honor going in the future? Do you see them keeping on pay-per-view? And do you think their exposure is going to get more? What's your outlook on Ring of Honor for the future?
I mean, I think it's going to be great. I mean, I'm pretty much booked on every show that they have. I mean, if we have 5 shows in a month, I'm probably going to be booked on 4 of them. So, I mean, that's great. I mean, in my opinion, that's great. And, I mean, I could only assume that the exposure is going to even be more and more, especially with having a show in Atlanta in February. And I live in Atlanta, so, I mean, that's going to help with how much I'm going to be on TV, to get that show going. But, I mean, I like how Ring of Honor is using me. I can't complain. I mean, it's a bunch of people who could be in my footsteps, who want to be in my footsteps right now. So I'm blessed to be where I'm at, and I can't complain about it.
Yeah, definitely agree with you. They're, going on a high point, and you're working more. Like we said, you're doing your tag team work with Artie Evans and working with Ada Scott, so you're starting to get into the public eye, and I think you're starting to impress a lot of people who, never knew you, and then they see this gigantic football player come in and just kick people's ass, and they're like, okay, we like him.
Yeah, I mean, I the funny thing about it, I saw all the reviews and all the blog talks when everybody found out that, ex-NFL player signed with Ring of Honor, and I was just reading everything, and everybody said, this guy's going to suck, he's terrible, he's going to be another football player who made it to wrestling and sucked and never panned out. And 3-4 months down the road, I'm reading different reviews on, man, this guy's not bad, this guy's good, this guy's athletic, this guy's a beast. So, all praise be to God, man, and thank him for all his blessing. And the only thing I can do is just keep working harder and harder to get the bloggers and the fans to say more good stuff.
Yeah, without a doubt. Ring of Honor is doing great stuff. I know Oscar can agree, and a lot of people agree too. So you definitely came in at a good point, so it's only going to go up from here. All right, Oscar, I'm going to throw it back to you. I don't know how much time we have left with Moose here.
Yeah, we're not going to have him on not too long. So, like what I said to our listeners, if you have any questions for him, just tweet us at Wrestlingheads or just call us up at 760-454-1107. Like I said, we're not going to have him on too long, so this is now the perfect opportunity if you want to ask him something. But anyways, Moose, I'm going to say this is going to be my last question I want to ask you. My last question I want to ask, where do you see yourself in 5 years, or hopefully you see yourself in 5 years? Are you hopefully maybe you'll be Ring of Honor champion? Like, where will you see, how you want to see yourself in 5 years from now?
Oh man, I'm probably the worst person to ask that question to, man. Because, and I'm gonna tell you what, I don't plan for 5 years from now. I mean, it's probably the dumbest thing you've ever heard, but that's just not what Moose does. I just live life one day at a time. I could say I plan to be Ring of Honor champ in 5 years from now. I don't know. Sure, I might not be alive 5 years from now. So that's why you never know what could happen. I could break my leg and never be able to wrestle again. So
yeah.
I'm just thinking negative things right now. But you never know what happens 5 years from now. So I kind of hate to say, 5 years from now I'll be doing this and doing that, and then if that doesn't happen, it'll be a big disappointment, So I just live life one day at a time, and I live in the now.
Yeah, okay, I understand. Let me ask you this question. Maybe you can answer it. Let me ask you this question. Maybe you answer this better. I'm actually planning to head up to the Bay Area, which is probably a 6-hour drive where I live during WrestleMania weekend, and I'm planning not just to go watch WWE. I'm planning to go see some Ring of Honor and also Dragon Gate or Evolve. They announced they're going to have shows there too. And I know you just did our Evolve shows just recently with those guys. When I'm over there, most likely I'm going to see you in either one of those promotions. So my question to you is that, I'm planning to go to both. What is the percentage of yourself being part of WrestleMania weekend from either being part of either Ring of Honor or Dragon Gate Evolve promotion?
I'm definitely going to be down there. I won't say I'm definitely going to be down there. Let me not say definitely. but I plan to be down there. You never know what happens if I get booked on the shows with Ring of Honor, and I mean, you never know. I mean, hopefully I will be down there, and hopefully they look to me as one of the guys they want to bring down there. Which, I mean, by that time, I mean, who knows what I'll be doing with Ring of Honor. I mean, I still would be with Ring of Honor. I just don't know what I'm going to be doing at that point. I mean, just going back to the whole 5 years from now thing. But I plan on being down there. I plan on maybe not working the Evolve shows, but definitely going to watch some of my friends that's currently signed with Evolve in action. But definitely down there for Ring of Honor.
All right, cool. Well, hopefully I see you there or at the show in Vegas. So hope I see you around that time. And actually my first time seeing you in the ring if you do get booked at any of these shows. So yeah, I gotta if you get booked, I have to go because who knows when I'll see you in the West Coast. So
yeah, let's start the what's the word let's get Moose on PWG.
Yeah, definitely.
So you can watch me wrestle.
Yeah, definitely. And we did Magic before. Like, we actually helped ACH get to PWG. We could bug them, say, get ACH and PWG, and it worked. We might do our Magic again, And this is advice you want.
Definitely. I mean, there's a bunch of same thing with Ring of Honor. I mean, there's a bunch of guys in PWG that I would like to have singles matches. I mean, but the funny thing about it, a lot of those guys with PWG I would like to work with. A lot of those guys work with Ring of Honor. So, I mean, it's kind of stupid to say, I just want to work. I mean, it's kind of stupid because a lot of those guys work in other promotions that I've worked with or at one point or work with now with Ring of Honor. But, I mean, it's just, I watch all the highlight films on YouTube and that crowd, that PWG crowd is absolutely fucking insane, man.
Yeah, definitely. And, that crowd's insane. I actually could picture it, like, if you want heat from that PWG crowd, it'd be not, like, the cool way to do it is, say, after Candice LeRae, either she loses or win a match, you attack her from behind. And, oh, my God, that'll get some major heat out there.
I mean, the thing is, like, I've heard how crazy that crowd is. And, I mean, I still don't know if you could compare it with the Ring of Honor crowd, because Ring of Honor crowd are freaking fucking insane, too. I mean, just a show that I went to, I wasn't even working with Ring of Honor at this point, but it was, we kind of I want to say a year ago, we did a show there, and that was probably the craziest fans I've seen in my life. It was fucking amazing. Same thing with Best in the World. I mean, the fans there was fucking insane. I mean, you can talk about the greatest fans you ever be around. I mean, but I heard PWG fans are up there too. So I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean,
yeah. I never been to a Ring of Honor show. I'm planning to go to one in 2015. So I don't know what to tell you about the crowd is out there.
The best wrestling in the world, man.
Yeah. Hey, I'm planning to go, okay? Now you guys are coming to West Coast, I'm planning to go. I have to go. It's like a must thing, so I'm planning to go.
You'll be shocked how great the wrestling, how good the wrestling is, too.
Yeah. Yeah, well, like I said, the closest thing I got is PWG here in the West Coast, so I can tell you this, the crowd is awesome, and, I mean, they're insane as well, you can say, and yeah, they'll give it to you to show you respect. If they don't like you, they'll show you why they don't like you. That's how it is out there at PWG. So, yeah, so, all right, Tom, you got a final question for him?
Yeah, I got one last question. Moose, what's been the most surprising thing that you've seen in wrestling so far personally? Like, what's been the most shocking thing that you've learned, or one of the most surprising, aspects in the ring that you've seen so far? What's been it?
Surprising things. I guess the most surprising thing in the wrestling that I've seen is something about me, and both a lot of close people know this about me. I'm like the most positive person you will ever meet. Like, I'm almost like a hippie. I'm so I always think positive about everything, and it's just one thing that really surprised me in wrestling is some of the people and I'm not saying workers, I'm saying more indie promoters and everything with the word called heat, and we hear this all the time. I didn't really understand what it was until I actually dealt with it. And promoters get heat with you for some of the dumbest things ever. Like, I had this promoter in West Virginia tell me, "Hey, you signed with Ring of Honor, or you're working on Ring of Honor. I would never book you in my show again because I don't like Ring of Honor guys. I hate Ring of Honor guys." And now I have heat with this promoter just because I'm working with Ring of Honor. And that's just I think it's full of shit. But, man, that's just something surprising that I came across and is very shocking to me.
Yeah, I could see that.
The word called heat, and the reason why people have heat with you, which in the real world you would be like, it would be no problem at all, but just because it's wrestling is the biggest problem in the world. But, that's just something I'm learning in this whole business. And, I still don't make it change the type of person I am, because everybody knows me. I try to stay positive and think positive and just keep moving forward and not really getting stuck with the bullshit or, doing the whole talking behind people's back and all that stuff. I don't really do that whole thing. I just keep positive and move forward and keep living.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. And I was actually going to chime in before you guys, were talking about the PWG crowd and everything. I got to tell you, wait till you come to New York City for Final Battle. It is going to be insane. You think, Best in the World was crazy? New York City crowd, it's gonna be insane. You're not even gonna believe it.
Yeah. I don't know, because I've worked in New York City with Ring of Honor, with other companies, and the crowd, it still wasn't as. I would definitely say Tennessee a year ago, and Tennessee doing Best in the World was definitely the most intense environment I've been a part of. That was insane. But we'll see how intense and how pumped up and energetic the crowd is in Final Battle. We'll see.
Yeah, but I think you'll enjoy coming to New York City. I think you're gonna like the crowd. All right, Oscar. Gonna pass it on to you. Finish it up.
All right, then, Moose. I want to thank you again for joining us, and hopefully I get to see you when you come down here in the West Coast for these Ring of Honor shows in Vegas and in the Bay Area, like I said. And also, I forgot to tell you, next month I'm going to San Diego to watch the St. Louis Rams play the Chargers out there. So if I run into Quinn and them, Robert Quinn and Chris Long and those guys, I'll you say hi.
All right, cool.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, like I said, thanks for joining us, and hope we have you on in the future. You
all right, cool, man.
Thanks before we let you go? All
right.
Nah,
man, it's actually past my bedtime right now, so I gotta get to sleep. So I'm on this diet, so I'm trying to go to sleep before I get the urge to eat something that I'm not supposed to be eating.
All right. All right, well, you have yourself a good night, and like I said, hope we have you on in the future, and I guess we'll see you soon, man.
All right.
All right, take care, Moose.
Thanks, Moose.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Moose that just joined us, and yeah, it was great, huh, Tom?
Yeah, it was a great interview. Gave a lot of insight. You know, we've interviewed, you know, wrestlers in the past, but never somebody who went, you know, from the NFL into wrestling before. So it was good insight. I know Moose is, you know, making a big splash in Ring of Honor, so good guy. Sounds like a very chill person.
Yeah.
So, you know, once again, thank him for being on, taking time out of his night.
All right. Well, we're going to go to take a commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about what happened on Raw last night. And, yeah, we'll be right back literally, very, very shortly.
This is Ring of Honor superstar Nigel McGuinness, and you are listening to Wrestlingheads radio show. So stay tuned, you wankers.
Yes, you wankers. Yes. I told you we'll be back very, very, very shortly. But anyways, last night, Monday Night Raw. How should we start it? Tom, I know you saw Raw last night. What do you want to give it? Like, out of 1 to 10, how you want to give it? Because to me, I felt like they pretty much did the same shit like they did last week on Raw, but a little different way, in a way. So I'm going to give it probably a 4.
Sorry about that,
Hey,
Oscar. My phone was acting weird.
Yeah.
Well, I was, how could I describe it? It was There were a couple highlights, but overall, I mean, it's kind of the same thing over and over again. I don't feel like I'm watching anything new except for a couple of highlights.
Well, basically what I'm saying is, like, they did the same thing almost like how they did last week. It started off with the whole Dean Ambrose, John Cena, Seth Rollins the attack again, and then goes to Dolph Ziggler, like the opening match involves Dolph Ziggler, Cesaro, like they did last week, and they did this and that. It's like the same shit last week, pretty much. And instead of Hulk Hogan coming out, you have The Rock coming out.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
It is. It's like watching the same thing over and over again, and it's been like this for months now. You know, the only thing that was really new was the stuff that Dean Ambrose did, you know, but other than that, it's the same stuff. And, you know, if you didn't see it on Raw, it happened on SmackDown, you know, like Miz and Sheamus. That happened on SmackDown, and then they just bring it to Raw.
Yeah,
you know, that's not
a lot too. Yeah, they've been doing that too.
You know, a lot of people, and I've said this before, but it's getting harder and harder to watch Raw because, you know, it's 3 hours, and when you do the same stuff every week, it gets tougher to watch it.
Yeah, you know what? I would say that it's kind of like, say, laziness from the creative team. It's like I said, to me, this is the first time I realized that they're doing it like the same exact thing, like by order, fashionably way, like they did last week. You know, and I'm like, wow, really? Why can you just not open up with open the first match? I know a lot of fans might not agree with me, but open the first match with a Brie Bella thing they had with her. You know, why can't you do that? But anyway,
that would make me want to turn off my TV immediately.
I don't know. Something different, at least, you know. But anyways, if you guys don't know what we're talking about, you know, Raw started off again with the whole Dean Ambrose, John Cena thing, and I believe John Cena went to attack Rollins, and then later on the Authority booked him to a match, to a 2-on-3 handicap match between John Cena and Dean Ambrose against Seth Rollins, Randy Orton, and Corporate Kane. That's going to end up being the main event. So that's how it all started, pretty much. And the opening match was same thing like last week, well, sort of, but it was a 6-man tag. It was Cesaro teaming up with Stardust and Goldust against Dolph Ziggler and the Usos. And who the hell won? Was it Ziggler and the Usos won, right?
Yeah, they won with like a triple super kick that they did at the same time.
Yeah. You know what's funny?
So that was cool.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what's funny? While we're talking about Dolph Ziggler, did you buy those tweets he was talking about, that how he lost the Intercontinental title? United Airlines.
Yeah, United Airlines apparently lost the Intercontinental title.
Did you buy that at all?
I mean, from the stories I've heard, I don't fly, so I don't have any experience with United Airlines, but they're not a very good airline from what I hear from, Twitter and people. So I wouldn't be shocked if it was true that they actually lost the Intercontinental title.
Yeah, I know. I didn't buy it at all, to be honest with you, because if he really lost the Intercontinental title, I don't think Dolph Ziggler will be tweeting that, to be honest with you. I bet you just keep it in, and plus, I think Triple H and them would have given him shit if he did tweet that. So, I didn't buy it. And didn't he came out with it today on main event?
Yeah. I didn't see anything. I didn't see anything further go from it. I only saw it, on Monday. I only saw his tweets from Monday. So maybe it was him just messing with us, but who knows?
Yeah,
it's Dolph Ziggler stuff.
Yeah, because like I said, I wouldn't. I don't know. It would not surprise me if he didn't lose it, because it would have been a joke. It's funny, when me and Sketch met Drew McIntyre during SummerSlam weekend, he did mention that he, this is what happened. He almost forgot the Evolve title on the store, right? And then he was like, "Oh man, I get that a lot. When I was Intercontinental champion, I left in the arena one time." So I guess Drew McIntyre. Yeah, Drew McIntyre has to have his losing belt. But But
going back to the 6-man tag, what I wanted to comment on is, we're talking about it's the same thing every week, and it is, because Dolph Ziggler and the Usos won. Why? Yeah. What is the point of having them winning? You're trying, first of all, Goldust and Stardust are the tag team champions, so you want to make them look strong, okay? Give them a victory. And then you have Cesaro, who's, he's having these good matches, and he's built up like he's going to win a match, and then he just loses. So what is the point? What is the point of having these matches every single week?
It's funny you mentioned that. Earlier today on main event, Goldust lost to one of the Usos today. So that's now, they lost twice in the same week. So
yeah, I can, obviously they're going to probably have a match at Hell in a Cell between the Usos and Goldust and Stardust. But you want to make Goldust and Stardust look strong. You don't want to just have them, keep losing. When the Usos were tag team champions, they were winning every week. And it's the same thing. They only lost that one match, but keep winning every other week. So it's like, what's the point?
Well, don't be surprised that the Usos, like you said, the Usos and Stardust and Goldust have a match in Hell in a Cell. Don't be surprised the Usos walk out tag team champ again, and probably kill off the feud. So that's why I see. They try to make the Usos still look strong even without the tag team belts. That's how I see it.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I was saying to the Usos, when they were, feuding with the New Age Outlaws, they're obviously good in the ring, but I am just so sick of them. This is what happens when you shove wrestlers down people's throats like the Usos. You have them keep winning. You don't make anything interesting with them. And, the whole thing with Michael Cole and Jerry Lawler and JBL, we were so crazy. Oh, we got a flying Uso, Michael. It is so goddamn annoying. I mean, I swear, I literally mute Usos matches because I know that's coming.
Yeah, definitely. I get what you're saying. I get you right there, man. I'm done with this part. But another thing that happened a rematch from last week Raw happened last night. Bo Dallas went at it again with Mark Henry, and once again, Bo Dallas defeated Mark Henry for the third time. I guess they wrestled last week's main event and Bo beat him. So, yeah, this was a rematch, and Bo Dallas defeats him again. This means this heel turn from Mark Henry is coming sooner because he did not. I don't remember seeing him in the main event, but Bo Dallas did have an Intercontinental title today, and he lost to Dolph Ziggler. But yeah, hopefully this feud between him and Henry ends now because I don't know. I'm not feeling it. I don't know about you, Tom, but I'm not feeling it.
No, I'm not really into it. I like Bo Dallas, but they just don't have any interesting feuds for him, and that's what they need to do with a fresh guy off of NXT, and you need to put him into some interesting feuds like they're doing, with Rusev. What they're doing with Rusev is putting him in interesting feuds and, interesting matchups. And they need to do that with Bo. They need to do storylines and, make his character stand out more. But I'm not interested in this whole thing. I hope it ends too.
Yeah. Speaking about Rusev, he was part of maybe one of the good points of Raw last night. That he came out. Well, this is what happened. The Big Show was inactive, so he couldn't come out at all. Because due to the quote unquote Russian people were upset, they threw down the flag. So what happened was Rusev came out and I guess running his mouth until you hear the music of "If You Smell What the Rock Is Cooking." The Rock surprised all of us. He came out and started off with his whole, at 4 a.m., The Rock got up and started, pumping some iron and all this stuff, how he is. And until he says, finally, The Rock has come back to Brooklyn. Doing his little mic work that we all remember him doing. And, yeah, The Rock just pretty much came out, and then Lana and Rusev had some words to say to him until The Rock laid the smackdown on Rusev's candy ass, and this how it pretty much ended between The Rock and Rusev. Like I say, this was part of one of the best, good signs of Raw, you could say, last night, but and I did hear the rumors that The Rock was in the city of New York at the time, but I did not believe The Rock was gonna appear. And also, when The Rock came out, the fans did chant, "Holy shit! Holy shit! Holy shit!" The Rock was all laughing. But Tom, what was your thoughts of The Rock making a surprise appearance at Raw last night?
Of course. Like you said, I was surprised. It was a good shock, though. Good to see The Rock in there. And, he was going back and forth with Lana. That was some hilarious stuff. And, I like this because, obviously I don't see, a Rock versus Rusev match happening. anytime soon. People were talking about Rusev versus Rock at WrestleMania, and I thought there's no way that would happen because you can't have Rock lose at WrestleMania, and if you're pushing Rusev, you can't have him lose. But it was good to see The Rock go in there and work with Rusev. Obviously, this means, they have high hopes for him because they wouldn't put, one of the most decorated, wrestlers in wrestling history in there with him to do a promo if they weren't hyped up on him. So I thought it was good. I thought the back and forth between Lana and Rusev and The Rock, it was good. There was some good moments. And, you saw The Rock, take Rusev out, put him out of the ring. So I like this, definitely one of the good points of Raw.
Yeah. Funny you mentioned about a possible match. I don't want to see a Rock versus Rusev match. If anything, put it in Survivor Series, not WrestleMania. It would not make sense having those two get on at WrestleMania. And by the way, if the WWE is really want to do a Rock versus Rusev match, and you have the Rock defeat Rusev, it would be so dumb if they do this because should you have someone in your current roster? If you want Rusev to finally lose a match, should it be someone in your current roster, not somebody from the past? Like, come on. If you have the Rock beat Rusev and give him his first loss.
I mean, obviously they're gonna, keep feuding Rusev with people on the main roster, but I think once in a while it's good to have something like this happen, just to have a legend like The Rock come out and do a promo with Rusev and Lana. It's a good way to put him over, keep him fresh, keep his heat going, him and Lana keep their heat up. So I didn't mind it. Obviously it's just a one-time thing. If it was something more, maybe I wouldn't like it, but a one-time thing is fine.
Yeah, and, like I said, they should not have a Rock versus Rusev match anytime soon. Wait till Rusev starts losing at one point, because if you have The Rock be the first man to defeat him, that's kind of slap in the face of your, or sort of like, you can say it's a slap in the face of your current roster. It's like saying, we don't have trust in you guys. We don't have faith in you guys. So we're going to have a legend take out Rusev. I know. It's like, I don't know, it's like sort of a slap in the face. If I was in that roster, I'd probably be offended by it, to be honest with you, if The Rock does come out and beat Rusev, Especially if a guy like has potential to to beat Rusev, like a guy like a Roman Reigns or even a John Cena, that's like a slap in the face there,
Yeah.
Before we move out the whole Rock and Rusev, before we move on for the Rock and Rusev thing, I just want to mention that Lana tweeted that it's like saying they're gonna have a revenge on the Rock, so maybe this is not gonna end yet. So we'll see what happens with The Rock, Rusev, and Lana. But Rusev's still working the program with the Dave Show. So you got to remember that. So anyways, let's see what's happening on Raw. Nikki's trying to torture Brie, putting her on stupid matches like Brie has to tie her hand behind her back, going against Summer Rae, which the plan failed, and Brie defeated Summer Rae. And I don't know what this is going to. I know what's the point. Nikki's having revenge on Brie for leaving her while she quit, and they're doing all these matches while Stephanie was putting Nikki in all those kind of matches. What's next week? We're gonna see Brie against 10 Divas. So that's basically what happens. And she did the yes chant, followed the yes chant with that Brooklyn crowd. And once again, that crowd was not bad. Brooklyn, not bad. But there was one match I felt sorry for them, which they chant, "This is stupid," was the El Torito versus what is it? Little Gator, Mini Gator? I think it's Mini Gator, which it's Hornswoggle wearing a gator suit, because he's hanging around with Heath Slater and Titus O'Neil. And basically the crowd was not into this match. They chanted, "This is stupid." And yeah, that Brooklyn crowd was hot. And if you guys remember, was it Brooklyn? What was one of the shows? I don't want to say it was a night after WrestleMania 29, but it was one of those Brooklyn shows that had a crazy ass Raw where the crowd was going all crazy, doing the fandangoing once again and all that. I don't know if it was this year or maybe last year, but Brooklyn had a crowd going. But I felt sorry for them for that match, and I'm surprised you weren't at the show.
Yeah, you know, it's hard to get down to Brooklyn sometimes.
Yeah,
especially with Raw. And honestly, to be perfectly honest, I wouldn't want to go to Raw right now. If anything, I'd want to go to a pay-per-view, because at least that's a little bit better. I wouldn't want to honestly waste my money with Raw, you know, having to sit there for 3 hours and only get a couple of good segments. It's not worth it. You know, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, maybe probably even more than that, because don't forget about Superstars.
Yeah, so it's even more. You got to sit there, and it would just be a pain.
Oh, and don't forget about the dark match too.
Oh my God. I would be too wrestled out. I wouldn't want to watch WWE for a couple weeks after if I had to go to one of those shows.
Yeah, definitely. And you never know, that dark match could be a Sami Zayn versus Adrian Neville match. I know you'd be down for that.
Yeah,
but
I will like that, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Speaking of terrible, I missed the segment somehow, and I'm so glad I did. But that I rewatched it because people were telling me about it. That stupid segment with the people from the Today Show. I couldn't even get through. I couldn't even get through it. So explain the whole segment, because I watched a little bit of it. I couldn't even get through it.
I don't know. I'll be honest with you, I didn't really watch that much part of it, but it's nothing to really talk about. It was basically the Today Show was promoting something. I don't know if it has to do something with the breast cancer thing, but all I know, Adam Rose was there, and they pretty much left with Adam Rose, and yeah, that's pretty much it. It was pretty much, there was no point to it, unless it has to do something with the breast cancer thing, but in the ending, there's no point to it.
These guest hosts are fucking stupid. You know, excuse my language, and I know I'm allowed to curse on the show, but geez, I mean, these guests, you know, whenever I see these guest hosts, it makes me think back to, when was it, 2010, when they had that whole guest host period and how terrible that was. And, you know, they're bringing in these people that they think are going to bring women. Yeah, you know, they think they're going to bring in, you know, women demographics and all these different people in to watch wrestling. It's like, why? They're not going to tune in to a wrestling show just to see these people, honestly. You know? It's like, you know, if you wanted to have more people watch your show, you know, there's a lot of wrestling fans that don't watch WWE because of how it is. You know, maybe if you put more wrestling on the show, write better storylines, you know, maybe your ratings would be better. And, they're doing more guest hosts next week. What's his name? Chris Lee is going to be there from Chris Lee Knows Best. That's going to be terrible. And who's the other person? Who's the woman who's supposed to be there?
The woman. I think she's also part of a show on USA Network. I'm trying to think. Fuck. I read it, but I cannot. Fuck. I read it, but I just don't have it in my head right now. But there's also a tease that somebody also could be appearing, in a baseball player, and Mr. Riddick from Oakland A's might appear as well next week. Will not surprise me at all.
I don't give it. I like baseball, but I don't give a shit about a baseball player going to be on Raw. This is like a TNA tactic. This is like when TNA brought in AJ Przinsky and put him on the show. It's like nobody gives a shit.
And then AJ Przinsky was on Raw as well. But, yeah, to me, the only celebrity or sports athlete I would like to see appear on WTV for once, or on the ring at least. He appeared on WWE a couple of times, but LeBron James, for some reason, I'm interested to see what he would do in the WWE ring. I mean, not wrestle, but in the segment, so it's somebody, I like to see what he would do. But that's like the only sports athlete I want to see be involved in the WWE ring. I don't know what Josh Reddick's going to do from the Oakland A's. Not a big fan of him. I know he comes out to Daniel Bryan's music when he comes on the bat. That's what I'm hearing. And see what happens. And screw Daniel Bryan for a next San Francisco Giants jersey, by the way. Yeah, he was leading the yes chants yesterday at the San Francisco game, and they ended up losing that game yesterday, but ended up winning tonight. So Daniel Bryan helped the Giants get the series. Screw them. I don't want them to win the World Series. Screw them.
I hate both of them.
Go Kansas City Royals. Now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, let me see what else also happened.
I think we should just skip a lot. Oh, one thing before. I wanted to talk about, Dean Ambrose for this whole show, but one thing that was also surprising to me was AJ and Alicia Fox came out, Paige and Alicia Fox came out, and, Paige told AJ that she has no friends and no one's going to team with her. And then Emma returned to Raw and came out to a big pop. The crowd was doing, the Emma dance, and they were loving her, so it was good to see Emma back on Raw. What did you think of the match?
Not great, but I feel you about the whole pop thing. I'm sure freaking Gitz was marking out when he saw Emma coming out. And I want to say it was the first time she appeared Raw since the whole, supposedly she shoplifted or whatever thing. But sad to have her see her back on Raw. With that crowd reaction, hopefully her bringing her in more. I was not into the whole love scene with her and Santino. I thought that sucked. I think that kind of ruined her. But hopefully this will give her another chance, maybe being more involved in Raw. So let's see what happens. But I kind of see the point why they did it, because the whole AJ and Paige feud still continuing. Paige got a friend, that's Alicia Fox. Now I'm surprised Skitz has not posted that picture with him and Alicia Fox on any of the social media accounts, with Twitter or Instagram. I'm surprised he hasn't done it yet. There was something also happened, but I had it in my head right now, but totally forgot. But maybe it was not bad.
That's raw for
anyway.
you. That's raw for you.
But I can tell you this, though. Dean Ambrose did call out John Cena, and I know they're both trying to go after Seth Rollins, but there's a little problem. they couldn't work out whatever they're doing. So what Dean Ambrose said, well, I'm hungry. I'm going to get a hot dog or something like that. So he wants to head off to Coney Island or whatever. So he took off and let Cena hang in. So it ended up being a 3-on-1 match. Triple H told Cena that Seth Rollins will start off. They know he wants Rollins. So, yeah, they were going to start off there. Oh, the thing I had in my head, now it appeared. Once again, vignettes happened from the Wyatt family that Bray Wyatt is letting Luke Harper free, and they showed another vignette with Eric Rowan, how he's going to set him free as well. Basically saying the Wyatt family are breaking up. And there was a little rumor going around. I hope it's not true, because if it's true, it's going to be fucking stupid. Even though I was hyping this guy to come out to the main roster, but rumor has it the new Wyatt family is going to be Bray Wyatt with the Ascension, which I think that would be stupid if that happens. Tom, what you think about this whole vignette of Eric Rowan and Luke Harper?
I thought it was good. You know, we talked about this a little bit last week on how, you know, the promos were good. You know, we want to see Luke Harper kind of break out into singles competition, you know, even though the Wyatt family was working until they completely just derailed that whole thing. But, you know, we know the talent that Luke Harper has. You know, he's one of the best overall wrestlers in that company. You know, he can do so much. You know, he can, you know, we've seen him fly, you know, do suicide dives, and, you know, he's great in the ring. But we were also worried about Eric Rowan because, you know, Eric Rowan was in a good spot with the Wyatt family. You know, his weaknesses were hidden a little bit. You know, he's not as, you know, good as Luke Harper in the ring, but he was in a good spot. And he was, you know, he was taking advantage of that. I think his spot that he had in the Wyatt family was good, kind of being that silent type. I'm just worried about what they're going to do with him because it's like he was doing good, but I don't think he's going to be able to be, you know, a singles competitor on his own. So we'll see what happens with them. The whole idea about Bray Wyatt and the Ascension, I don't really like. You know, maybe they can do something with it. Maybe they could actually make it a little bit better than the Wyatt family, but it just doesn't work because the Ascension's their own different thing than the Wyatt family. You know, they built up the Wyatt family all the way from NXT, and, you know, Luke Harper and Eric Rowan were the first followers, so it worked, but this doesn't work because the Ascension's their own different thing. So I don't know. I don't like it. Hopefully they don't do it, but, you know, it's WWE, so.
Yeah, definitely. I get you. And like I said, man, I hope this is not true, because this does not make sense at all if they're going to put the Ascension with Bray Wyatt. I just don't get it. And it doesn't make sense at all. It doesn't really make sense at all. And They should not do it at all. They shouldn't do it. So if I was WWE, please don't do it. Please do not put the Ascension with Bray Wyatt. Make this a new Wyatt family or 2.0 or whatever. Just don't do it, please. It'll be so stupid. Oh, another thing happened, Tom. Kid actually wrestled on Raw last night, and he lost to Jack Swagger. You know where this is going with this whole stupid Total Diva storyline with Natalya. You know how they're, I don't know if you watch Total Divas, but they're having a little problems between Tyson Kidd and Natalya. This is where it's going. This is really going, and maybe this is where Tyson Kidd stays back from NXT, because if you watch NXT last week, he lost his last chance to we can say win the NXT title, and that's what happens, you know?
Yeah. don't watch Total Divas, so I don't know any of the stuff that's going on there. And that's what I don't like. Is Tyson Kidd is doing so good down in NXT. I don't want to say was because he's still doing it. He's doing some great things down in NXT. He's a great heel down there. His in-ring work is, he's doing great down there. Working with Sami Zayn, Adrian Neville, Tyler Breeze. He's having great matches down there. And then you bring him up, to do some stupid storyline like this and have him lose to Jack Swagger. For what reason, I will never know. And it's like, what are you doing? It's like you're making him a threat down in NXT, but then on the main roster, he's like a joke. It's confusing because Tyson Kidd, I think he has a lot of talent. He's a lot better on the mic, than what he was in the past. I look back when he debuted with Natalya on ECW, and of course his in-ring skills there were really good. And when he was, teaming with Harry Smith and all that, so he was, he was doing good, but he was very weak on the mic. Now he's way more comfortable. He cuts great heel promos. I just didn't like this. It's like, why even bring him on the main roster to do this? Keep him down in NXT. Let him do his thing.
Fact. And the fact is, yeah. Well, the fact is, they're doing it with this whole Total Divas thing. That's what it is. That's all of it. That's what it is. I didn't read much of the NXT spoilers, but I don't know if he's going to be in NXT next couple shows. All I know is get ready for Finn Balor. But anyway,
no. It's only about a month away is when the tapings are going to air, and it's going to be great. It's like I said, NXT is always good, and it's just going to get even better now. So
yeah, and maybe the next set of tapings are doing, Kevin Steen will debut. So, and we'll find out.
Yeah, I think they're supposed to be. Yeah, they're supposed to be doing tapings later this month. I think the 23rd. I'm not sure. I think it's the 23rd. Seth Rollins is actually supposed to be in NXT for those tapings. So that should be good. It's interesting to see what he's going to do. And then, we're going to see possibly Steen debut. We're going to see his new name, what they got for him. But hopefully he just comes down and kicks ass, I couldn't care what his name was. I couldn't care what his name was,
Kevin Steen's name's going to be Tommy Not Dreamer. That's his new name. So, yeah. And if that is it, you should sue him. Anyways, or maybe Kevin Steen's new name is going to be Smart Marrow. So, yeah.
Maybe.
By the way.
Maybe.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we could talk about the main event on Raw, which it was a 3-on-1 handicap match. John Cena against Seth Rollins, Corporate Kane, and Randy Orton, which ended up in a disqualification because Kane came out and ambushed John Cena until you heard Dean Ambrose music. He came out with when those guys are selling hot dogs, that machine, hot dog machine. So he came out, and then he started spraying, you could say, or shooting, not spraying, but shooting ketchup and mustard at Kane and Randy Orton, and then he went after Seth Rollins. He got him, and then he threw onions at him. He grabbed that, you can say, which he grabbed the wieners too, but it went to a different wiener, you can say.
Yeah. It was tongs to dongs. So that's what it was. Tongs to dongs.
Yeah, I could not believe he did that because, like, this is not PG. This is not PG here.
Yeah, but he did all that. Yeah,
I
he
couldn't
did all
believe
that, and then, he cleared the ring. Well, Cena helped him clear the ring of Orton and Kane, and then just as the show was getting off the air, Cena was looking up the entrance ramp. Ambrose spun him around, kicked him in the stomach, did the double underhook DDT, kind of like Drew McIntyre did, laid Cena out. Ambrose's music played, and Raw faded out with Ambrose standing tall. So that was a good way to end the show. We've been saying it for weeks now, ever since Ambrose returned, and even before that, Ambrose is just the highlight of Raw. Everything he does. Earlier in the night when Rollins was getting chased by Cena, and he went through the crowd, and he was looking at Cena, and he patted what he thought was like a fan or somebody, and pointed to Cena, and it was actually Dean Ambrose, and Dean Ambrose is just staring straight in the ring, acting like nothing's wrong, and then he attacked Seth Rollins up until what he did with the hot dog cart and the tongs, and everything just Dean Ambrose does is incredible. I mean, he is Raw. If it was just 3 hours of Dean Ambrose, if it was like 3 hours of Dean Ambrose just doing wacky shit, I would watch Raw every week, no problem.
Yeah, I think he will be doing more wacky shit. Berlin's guy go in the moon. The hot dog thing, I'm like, what the fuck? It was not like Austin shooting beer, but hey, that was something cool to see, And you see him using that being at Seth Rollins. It was freaking awesome. I think it works because, it's not like he randomly came out with a hot dog cart. He told, Cena he was going to go get a hot dog, and then he comes out with the hot dog cart, and, it's just going crazy. And people pointed out something interesting. They said, oh, if Cena did it, people would say it's stupid. And probably that's true. If Cena did this, we would say it was a little bit stupid. But with Ambrose, it's just different. Everything he does is just different. He can take something that's, would be a bad idea for somebody else, and he turns it into gold. It's just what he does. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and also one thing before we end talking about WWE Raw or maybe WWE General, but Triple H did announce at the end of Raw that the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, it will be Dean Ambrose going against John Cena, and the winner of that match will take on Seth Rollins in a Hell in a Cell match. So all those rumors you've been hearing the last couple of weeks about possible, John Cena versus Dean Ambrose winner wrestles Seth Rollins Hell in a Cell match. Well, it's true and it's confirmed. There you go. So there you go, people. Who will wrestle Seth Rollins in Hell in a Cell? Who knows? But we'll see what happens.
I mean, it has to be Dean Ambrose. It has to be. I mean, WWE does a lot of stupid stuff, but they have something clear as day right in front of them. Ambrose versus Rollins. This is how you build a feud. This is how you end a feud in a Hell in a Cell match. They've been building this moment for so long. And, it just worries me. Obviously I think Dean Ambrose is going to win, but with John Cena in there, you just never know. You just never know what could happen. It's just, I don't know. You just have to have Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins inside Hell in a Cell to close out the pay-per-view. With Brock Lesnar not being there, you have to close out that show that way. It would be, Cena versus Rollins, they have good chemistry. I don't doubt that when they've had a couple one-on-one matches and they have good chemistry. They've had some good matches, but you just can't match what Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins have right now. You can't match it. It is the best feud in the company. It's probably the best feud maybe it's one of the best feuds WWE has had this year.
Yeah. But it's feud of the year, for sure. Feud of the year in the WWE. But anyways, yeah. We're going to take one more commercial break. And when we come back, we might talk about some Ring of Honor coming to the West Coast or the desert of Nevada. You know what I'm talking about. We'll be back. Shortly, you can say. We'll be back, not even a minute, so yeah, we'll be right back.
Four Corners Radio is the home for the best professional wrestling and independent wrestling. Discussions and coverage. Billy, Ant, Martin, and Sam bring you three of the best podcasts every week. The Four Corners Raw Roundtable, the Indie Project, and the Saturday Freestyle. Along with the podcast, FourCornersWrestling.com is designed with all wrestling fans in mind. Feature articles, videos, the weekly shows, and much more. Four Corners and Wrestlingheads are teaming up to bring you wrestling's next revolution. Are you ready?
Yes, I am ready. I'm sure Tom is ready. I am ready to create Tom at WW2K15. Yeah, I'm ready. I think it's so easy. Just come up with both Dallas's music or in his entrance. That's all I gotta do.
Yeah.
But anyways,
you gotta just put the thumbs in the air and bowl you. That's all you gotta do.
That's all. And I can have you destroy John Cena. And have you get stuttered by Austin. But anyways, Ring of Honor just announced today that tickets go on sale tomorrow for ringside membership only for the Las Vegas show, and on Friday the tickets go on sale to the general public. Which I am not a ringside member of Ring of Honor, but I will buy the tickets soon. Hopefully Sketch will get his tickets soon, because we're both planning to go to Vegas, baby. 4-hour drive to Vegas, watch some Ring of Honor. Hope we win some money. Hope I win the jackpot. Let's see what happens. And if I win money, I will be flying to New York. Like, hey, Tom, let's go to. Hey, you know what, Tom? I'll buy you a Ring of Honor ticket. Let's go. Let's go watch some Ring of Honor. I'll buy you a ticket.
There we go.
Right?
There we go.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It should be interesting to see Ring of Honor in the West Coast. You know, they're not out there very often, so they're going to be out there, you know, in Vegas, and then around WrestleMania time, they're going to be out there too. So in California, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, that's why I said the moves earlier. We had him on here. You can't wait to see. Hopefully, we get to see you in Ring of Honor out here in the West Coast, and yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting, and and the goal is going to be my first Ring of Honor show I ever went. So yeah, popping my Ring of Honor cherry finally, and going to too many PWG shows. I know what these guys will do. I've just never seen guys like Asaz Young, Artie Evans, the Moose. Who else I've never seen? I've never seen a Matt Taven before.
I don't think you've seen. Have you seen the Briscoes?
No, I haven't. Oh, yes, yeah. One time in PWG, I've seen them before at PWG.
Yeah, because I know they worked in PWG before, and they were in DDT 4 in 2013. So
I was there.
Yeah, so
that was Generico's last match. I was there. Or the final show. You can say it. Generico's. I was there actually. Yeah, I haven't seen War Machine before. That's gonna be freaking interesting. So finally get to see some talent there for my first ever PWG show. I mean, not PWG show, Ring of Honor show. So hopefully I get to see an AJ Styles maybe. Who knows? Let's see what happens, man. And or another Matt Sydal appearance maybe. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I might get lucky. I seen Matt Sydal on PWG just recently, not long ago. So let's see what happens, and yeah, it'll be freaking interesting. And also for WrestleMania weekend, I'm actually planning to go see Ring of Honor out there, and not only that, I guess I'll check out some Evolve shows. I mean, I bet you do the same thing too if you're around in in the West Coast, you probably want to see some Ring of Honor. You want to see some Dragon Gate Evolve. I know you want to see Maxwell Chicago for one. It would be more sick though if they bring in. It'd be more sick if they bring in Chikara for WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah. I think Chikara would be cool. It would be interesting. I don't know what they're gonna do. I've lost some interest in Chikara. They're not holding my interest from when they first came back. They're just not doing anything exciting. So
maybe because I never.
I don't know. It's always a fun show. It's like I said, it's always something different, but it's just their hype kind of dwindled down.
Yeah, definitely.
Speaking of Ring of Honor, before I know we don't have much time left, and we still have to throw out our plugs and everything. But quickly, I wanted to get your thoughts on the whole Michael Elgin thing, where he supposedly quit Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
He posted a Facebook message, and he, thanked Ring of Honor for bringing him back in the United States, but he said there were some issues there, and he basically said he quit. So, and people are speculating if this is an angle, because Ring of Honor has done, quitting angles before. Kevin Steen, Jay Lethal, Tommaso Ciampa they're doing right now. So do you think this is an angle, or do you think this is actually legitimate?
It's an angle. I'm pretty sure it's an angle. If he really did quit, I don't think they'll make it a big deal like how it is right now. I really don't see Elgin in the Ring of Honor at all. The only way I see if this was really legit, if I see Elgin getting booked at a freaking Evolve show or something like that, and I'll be like, holy shit, this is real. But I doubt it. I just think this is an angle to work. Let's just see what happens. Where's this leading to? Is it leading to Sun for Best Final Battle? Who knows? I don't know, but I know a lot of people are happy he's no longer the champ. I'm not happy that Jay Briscoe's the champ. Might as well give that shit to Adam Cole. And
I mean, said it before, and I'll say it again. Right now, Jay Briscoe needs to be the Ring of Honor World Champion. Until I think there's still, I think everyone thinks they're going to put it on AJ Styles eventually. But for right now, you need Jay Briscoe as the world champ just because it's interesting. It works in the storyline, and who knows what could happen, down the line. So I'd rather, I love Adam Cole, one of my favorites going in the indies right now. But, what Adam Cole's doing is good too. He's still relevant. He's, of course, Mike Bennett's bachelor party happening this week. And, he's going to be involved in the Champions versus All-Stars thing. So Adam Cole's still doing good. I think it was good to get the belt off of him, kind of cooled down for a little bit. But he'll be Ring of Honor champion, I think, again.
Yeah, definitely. Before we end the show, I just want to say next week we're going to have Mr. Get Your Shit In, Brian Cage, which I just saw him recently at the Lucha Underground taping. He went by Cage, not Brian Cage. But, yeah, you get to see him at Lucha Underground. And people, October 29th, check out Lucha Underground. You check that shit out too, Tom. I went to 3 tapings. Each taping the show got better and better, so I'm telling you right now, this product is going to be great. And, yeah, it's great talent. I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy the show. Too bad it's not competing with TNA. It starts an hour before TNA. But, yeah, check it out. El Rey Network. Check your local listings. Check your provider if you have El Rey Network. I'm sure Tom will thank me when you watch this promotion, because this thing.
Yeah. I don't know if I have
real.
the El Rey Network. If I do, I'm definitely going to be checking out Lucha Underground.
What do you have?
I have Comcast.
What do you have? Comcast. Okay, well, look up Comcast, see if you have El Rey Network. I know DirecTV, I forgot it was on 641. If you have, I could be wrong, I think it's on 641. But this network is just barely started. It's just new. It's like a Latin thing, and then they just want to put the Lucha Underground thing, and its promotion looks pretty great. Looks pretty great. I'm planning to go one more taping. I think they're about to end their tapings pretty soon, and I gotta check it out. And it's gonna be great. I think you'll enjoy it, and anybody listening who's never been Lucha Underground taping, I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy it. But I think it's time to give out our plug. You can follow me at Sinister632 on Twitter, Instagram, Vine, Google Plus. Just do that. Or I don't think Google Plus. So I'm just doing Google Plus. So I think it's both on our real name, Oscar Raul Salazar. Check that out, and follow Wrestlingheads on Instagram. We always post pictures. You can look at it. You can see a picture of me, a 6-year-old me with the big boss man, and you can see a picture of me and John Cena. Yes, I met John Cena. You can check that picture out. And, of course, with Sue Young and Paige and more beautiful women, Trish Stratus. You can see my pictures there, too. And, for those you're wondering, on WrestlingHeads.com, it's why I haven't posted my Classic Match of the Week. It's just I'm trying to figure out when I'm going to do it. It's been a little frustrating for me. I have family things going on, so I'll get back to it as soon as I can. I'll give you guys an update on that. Go ahead, Tom. Give out your plugs and check out Wrestling Heads on Thursday.
Double O. Tweet me. Sure to follow me. I'll follow you back. Also, be sure to follow Mr. Skip, who is missing in action at WH Skip on Twitter. Of course, he's always doing stuff. Check out WrestlingHeads.com.
Right now he's disappointed because the Dodgers are out, so that's why he's not on the show.
Yeah.
Just playing.
He might be crying somewhere, so we're gonna, give him a follow. Tell him, we're sorry that the Dodgers lost and Clayton Kershaw blew it. So disappointing. But anyway, check out WrestlingHeads.com, like Oscar said. A lot of good writers on there. We always mention our friend Chris. You can follow him at ROH Code. He always posts some good articles. He knows his Japanese wrestling like nobody else. He's always posting stuff on there. Check out all the other writers. If I had time, I would name them all, but there's so many. Check out their blogs. They're posting some great stuff on there. And I also want to throw out something real quick. Our friends over at Shining Wizard are trying to kick cancer. Check out shiningwizards.com/kickcancer. They have T-shirts available. All donations go to help raise awareness for breast cancer, help raise awareness, and hopefully kick cancer right in its ass. So shiningwizards.com/kickcancer. Follow them on Twitter at shiningwizards.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully I get to see him at DDT4 because they say they might come down here. Shout out to Shining Wizards. Shout out to Matt from the Weekly Wrestling Podcast. Shout out to those guys as well. Hopefully I get to see him at DDT4 when they come over here. Until Thursday, me and Tom will be back. We'll talk more wrestling. Anything can happen at that time. And, maybe we'll see a CM Punk return. Maybe another rumor going around about CM Punk. And we won't be doing no CM Punk chants. All right. So Thursday, we are out. Peace.
Peace.